Hello everyone, I'm your host of the most, Dia, and before I start this video, I just want to say a quick disclaimer and I'm sorry, because it seems like my mic is broken. I tried changing the battery, I tried everything, it is just not working, so it seems like the first time I have to get a new mic, which is so annoying, but hopefully I'm probably just going to use my phone mic, because it doesn't sound bad, phone mic, for now, because I'm just really not in the mood to be getting a new mic, and hopefully by the gods it'll fix itself. So we'll see. Today is my exciting video that I mentioned at the end of my last video, or more accurately, the start of a series of videos. These are just going to be about my relationship with my deities. I'm very excited. These are going to be a deep dive into my relationships with my deities without getting too personal. I hope you all enjoy, because I'm really excited to make these videos. Of course, first we're going to start with Aphrodite. She gets her first child privileges. Out of all my deities right now, she's been here the longest, 3 years, but Aries came only 22 days after her, so. But still, she was here first. I do hope that all of you enjoy, because I'm very excited to make these videos. So like I said, Aphrodite is going to be first, and then Aries, Apollo, and then Hermes. And also, I'm just going to combine Apollo and Hermes into the same video, just because Hermes hasn't been here long enough with me to have his own full video, that it's not going to be enough substance to make a good video. Anyway, the video starts now. Hope you enjoy. So, our lovely lady, Aphrodite, popped up in my life on October 9th, 2021. Almost 3 years now. Before that, how I found out she was reaching out to me was through, I'm not gonna lie, it's really embarrassing. I used to be obsessed. This is back when I started getting into polytheism, all that good stuff. Even when I was back when I used to consider myself a witch. So I used to watch a bunch of metaphysical videos, and specifically I watched a lot of tarot videos, which ridiculous. That was a weird era. I do have ADHD, so I literally was hyperfixating on watching tarot videos. That's embarrassing to admit, but I'm admitting it. And her card, which is I consider a card I associate with her, is Empress card. It was popping up all the time in those tarot videos, and even crystals, rose quartz, and then one I found that was her is flower agate. So yeah, I saw this all the time, and then eventually I was like, this is kind of suspicious. So I asked her, I was like, okay, is this Aphrodite reaching out to me? And of course she said yes. So like I said, Aphrodite is the longest. Aphrodite has been here the longest out of all my deities currently, but she is the second deity I ever worshipped. First was Dionysus, as I love to mention, and she was actually the first deity that reached out to me. I reached out to Dionysus. So it was very new, confusing. So I was kind of just kind of awkward, as I always am, even now to this day. But it was even more confusing because I was like, why is the deity reaching out to me? Also kind of a little bit of self-worth issue. Am I worthy enough for Aphrodite reaching out to me? So I was kind of convinced myself that is not true. Which, spoiler alert, I guess for the next videos, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I did that with every single deity. Even Hermes, that was the most recent one, a year ago. Even Hermes, I did the same thing. I was like, no, it can't be. Ridiculous. But after I confirmed that she was reaching out to me, we got straight to work. As much as I'd love to tell you more about the early days, unfortunately, that was 3 years ago almost, and I have really bad memories, so I don't remember. But I guess it's also a good thing, because I remember a lot more of my earlier days with, at least Aries, because like I said, second longest. But I remember those specifically because I had a lot of, I'm not even issues going on. So that's why I remember that era so vividly. But with Aphrodite, we were kind of smooth sailing, which I'm going to go on and talk about in the video. So praise the gods, I guess, for that. But yeah. Like I said, I wasn't too good back then. But it was very fun. I was trying to look back at my journal and my mood entries for this app I use for Aphrodite, and I was going through it back then. Poor Aphrodite and all my deities had to deal with some weird stuff. But getting into the good stuff, how I describe my relationship with Aphrodite. That's my girl, of course. I've always been awkward and just generally anxious, but I think historically, Aphrodite has always been the one I've had the easiest time opening up to and generally interacting with. So that's why I said, I don't remember that much going on with her back in the day, because we were just kind of chill, we're boom. Can't even finish that. But yeah, like I said, we'll get into it with the Aries video. I'm not going to spoil anything, but why I remember more of the early days with him. But yes, I always had a pretty easy time, at least back in the day, interacting with, to this day also, but there was an era I was acting weird, but we'll get into that. But yeah, I always had a good time, easy time interacting with her. When I used to do shadow work, which I know, yikes. The first time I did it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared what's going to happen when I do shadow work. I did it with Aphrodite, because I was like, made me feel comfortable. And obviously it went well. Shadow work wasn't going to go bad. I don't want to talk about it. That was a weird era. Generally, Aphrodite was my main one back in the day. Of course she still is, but you know what I mean. To be honest, I'm sure I was more focused on Dionysus. Aphrodite was always in my corner, especially as my second deity. Well, not for that long. Not for that long. I only had two deities, but realistically, I'm not sure why. But Aphrodite was really the deity I relied on back in the day, and for good reason, I guess. Live, laugh, love, Aphrodite. Like I said, back in the day, I was really going through it, and I was really going through it. So there was times where I wasn't just doing too great in general. But you know who was always there? Aphrodite. Who knows what? Sorry, I'm reading my script. Oh, I'm so funny, bro. Who knows what my ominous ass was going through? Ominous? But I think generally I was just burnt out. And there's actually been 2 times in my life where I got so burnt out, I just generally stopped talking to my DD. Like, I actually ghosted them. I'm not joking. One time was really bad. I stopped talking to him for like months. No lie. But one time was like not as bad. It was only for a couple months. Or I think actually 1 month, which is still bad, but like not as bad as like being gone for like 2 months. And yeah, and also that's how I know the gods are good and like the gods will not hurt you or like be mad at you for like just other stuff that you do. Because like literally I stopped talking to my Ds. I didn't offer, I didn't do nothing. I didn't talk to them. I basically like basically pretend like they didn't exist for like a couple months. And I just after that I just went straight back into it. And we were all cool. But yeah, that was a wild time of my life. Just I disappeared. I said I was the disappearing of the meme of the guy disappearing. That was literally me. Anyway, I guess this was one of those times. Only for about a month. And then I guess I saw a Tumblr post about relying on your DDs for your problems. And obviously I was having a lot of problems if I just stopped talking to them. And then later that day, I guess I was playing Hades, as I always did back in the day. Still love that game. But I was playing Hades, and I actually got a message from Aphrodite in Hades. Because if you don't know, Hades is a Greek mythology game. So I guess it's a good medium to give your messages, according to Aphrodite. And I do still have it saved. It says, "I am always here or close enough to help. Whatever troubles you may face, so do not hesitate to call upon me," which is so cute. I remember how hard that message hit because that was like the first time of like one of those cute messages that I got from my D's, like, you know, telling me like it's gonna be okay, like I can rely on them, stuff like that. I think it was like one of the first times, probably not the first time, but one of the first times. So obviously that hit really hard. I still think about the message a lot. I still do. It still affects me to this day. So I think after that I got my stuff together. I don't know when I exactly started praying again, but that's when I set like a reminder, not like a reminder, like a goal to pray at least like once a week. And now I pray multiple times a day. So I'm doing. And then another time, way in the future, way after that whole shenanigans, one time I was thinking about praying to Aphrodite because I was going through some stuff. What else is new? But I almost talked myself out of it because of course what else is new? Because honestly, my room has always been hot as hell. Even if we move to a new house, it's still hot as hell in here all the time. My ventilation, I always get the bad ventilation rooms. Like, it's just a, man, that's okay. It's not even the thing. So I was kind of sweaty. I sweat. So I was like, dang, I guess I will not pray to Aphrodite. I may not pray to Aphrodite. But as soon as I thought that, I got a message from Aphrodite, a sign from Aphrodite, which all my deities, well, mostly honestly Aphrodite and Aries, we have like this personal sign that they always give me like to show like they're there or something like that. I kind of explained it in Tumblr post, I don't know. But yeah, basically I got that sign from her in that exact moment. Sounds like, oh, okay. Well, that's Aphrodite telling me not to be stupid. Talk myself out of praying. So I was like, so I prayed after that. And then later that night, I was playing Hades, because, you know, yet again, another message came up that said, "Sometimes our hearts can become so full that they could burst. If only you could see how much I care. I would do anything to aid you in your plight." Which is so cute, because I don't have this thought that often nowadays, but especially like back in the day, I used to think my DD just didn't care about me. So I was like, what's the point of praying if they don't care what I say to them? But so I'm pretty sure it's one of those thoughts that I was having on that exact day. Like I said, I was going through something, so I was like, I pray Aphrodite for help. As I talked about in my last video, like soothing thoughts and stuff like that. But I was like, oh my gosh, she doesn't care about me. But obviously, that's not true. But the most important thing here was the "if only you could see how much I care." Otherwise, back in the day, I really struggled with convincing myself that my deities didn't care about me. I did it with everyone. I did it with Aphrodite. I did it with Aries. I did it with Apollo. I did it with Hermes. But don't worry. After that, like I said, I prayed to her. Aphrodite's always been super supportive and always just in my corner. Each deity has their own unique way of like being like supportive, which is true for like different people too. Like each person is like different in their life how they support you. Aphrodite, it's hard to explain. I wish I could just bring it to my brain so you can see what I mean. But it's really hard to explain. And Aphrodite, she's supportive in a unique way. Like each of my deities are, but like I don't know how to explain it. Aphrodite, she's just built different. I also think like her being the deity that's actually been here the longest also kind of adds to that, because like she was back there in my down bad days, like my down sad days. So was Aries, of course. But Aphrodite was in a different way, because I'm not trying to spoil anything, but I'm gonna say in my Aries video, I was really weird with Aries back in the day. I don't want to talk about it. Well, I guess I am gonna talk about it, but we're not gonna talk about it now. But I was really weird. So Aphrodite was kind of the one I relied on. And then I don't even remember stuff about Dionysus. No offense to Dionysus, I love him still to this day. But I honestly, I promise you, I do not remember anything from back in the day. So I don't think Dionysus was like the one that I really talked to. I think it was Aphrodite that I usually went to when I was like, I needed something, you know what I mean? So that's what I mean. It's like, just because Aphrodite's been here the longest, and also because like she was like my main one back in the day, I think that's why it's like different. So she's like very consistent in that way. That's what I kind of mean by that. Hopefully I can cut that down into a better ramble so you understand what I'm saying. But I'm really bad at expressing my thoughts. I'm sorry. Let's move forward to 2024, the great job stress of 2024. She gave me another message when I was down sad again. She says, no need to worry any longer, dearest. I bring you strength and comfort, and I shall be watching every step of yours most carefully. And once again, I will say this from Hades. From the game Hades. Which, of course, that message I really needed at the time. Because the strength and comfort, I needed it. But I guess that's how I describe me and Aphrodite's relationship, too. She brings me strength and comfort, you know. Like, if I know, like, Aphrodite, like, I'm like, like, Aries, he's more, like, up front affectionate, like, giving the messages, like, affectionate messages in messages. Aphrodite isn't really like that, but she expresses her affection in another way that you can still, like, see, you know what I mean? Like, of course, all my deities do, but it's different. I wish I could explain it. I want to explain it in this video, honestly, but I'm not trying to explain it. I'm like, oh yeah, and then Apollo does this, but no, we're saving it for the Apollo video, or saving the Aries one for the Aries video. I need to stop jumping forward, but yeah, she's kind of like just the person that, you know, that you always come to if you need to talk about something, which I do with my other deities too. But I don't know, I'm done. We're not talking about this. I don't know how I'm gonna explain it. But yes, Aphrodite specifically, she always shows me that she's there by showing me that specific personal sign that we have, like, all the time. She does it. I remember, like, one time for like a week straight, she was doing it every day, which queen behavior. And of course, like so that's like a way that Aphrodite is different from my deities, because none of my other deities do that. I mean, I don't really have like one with Apollo. I had to figure out one for Apollo, but and then Hermes. But with Aries, there's no offense to Aries, we love Aries, but like sometimes I don't hear like his specific personal sign for like months. So just randomly pop up, and it's so funny. I had to give you a funny moment that happened in Aries video. So make sure you turn off that next video, because it's a funny moment that happened with that. But Aphrodite, she does it all the time. Like, I'm like, oh, Aphrodite. So yeah, that's what I mean by that. Okay, she's kind of just like always there. Queen behavior. Personality. Aphrodite, I think she definitely has a very warm personality, but definitely like assertive. I guess, bad with words. But she says things how she says it, but not in like a mean way. She's kind of, I guess, forward is a good way. I recently did like automated writing, as I said, and I did it with Aries, Aphrodite, and Apollo, and I can definitely hear like the differences in like how they quote unquote talk, and like how they deliver the messages in a straightforward way like that. Aphrodite was definitely more straightforward than Aries and Apollo. I guess she just mince words, but she's very sweet, super affectionate. Like I said, Aphrodite, no one can beat Aphrodite in affection, as you do see in these cases. Honestly, I would describe her as that one friend who like that one friend, or someone like you can just look up to, like maybe someone older, like a parent, anybody like that, like anybody like that you like look up to. Maybe they're older, they always give you like really good advice, and you know, like if you ever need something, you just come straight to them. It's gonna get taken care of. She's like kind of like that, kind of like older sister, something like that. But I would say she's also very attentive. Like I said, like she's always like just showing me that she's there. Of course, I mean attentive in the way like showing me that she's there. You know what I mean? Like of course all my other D's are attentive. She's just cool like that. She's also very reassuring and will reassure you and your doubts. Relationship types. I'm gonna say this right here, so I don't have to repeat it every video. None of my deities have a formal relationship. Honestly, I don't think I could ever have a formal relationship with any of my deities, because I don't think it'd be good for either of us. Yeah, but all my deity relationships are very informal. Our relationship, I would say, is very affectionate and a very fond relationship. Like I said, just kind of like someone you look up to. Like I guess in this case, you know, mommy issues. I feel like I did immediately get the mother role, but I really don't see her like that anymore. Either honestly, I don't really see I do say like, oh yeah, I see Aries my dad as my Aries. When I say like that, I do see Aries as my dad. Well, I feel like my mom, but like I don't really like actually like see them like that. Like I don't call them like parent names. Nothing wrong if we do them like that. But I don't really, I guess I don't really see them like literally as like a father figure or a mother figure or like a parental figure. I don't really see them like that. I don't know how to describe it, but like it's kind of like that. But yes, she's kind of just like kind of like, you know, like just kind of like, but I guess kind of taking it off like a parental figure, like someone you know like is gonna take care of you, stuff like that. Problems. Now disclaimer: what I mean by problems is stuff that happens with me that affects our relationship. Like I said, mental illness. No. The only problem that I had in my relationship with Aphrodite is that my problem with love and affection. Early on, I always felt not worthy of her attention, so I didn't want to pray, especially about personal stuff. But she's like my own potty issues. I'll be like, oh no, I didn't. At times, I just didn't feel like she cared about me at all, which obviously is not true, and she would show me as much. For example, one of her earlier messages was just her telling me that she would be there for me, and this was actually one of the first messages of this type. I'll say some worship things I do. Devotional acts are sexy. Devotional acts, I've honestly been carrying my worship for literally as long as I started. Like as soon as I started doing devotional acts on it, like for Aphrodite, I put on lotion every day. I take my medicine, my hormone medicine. I dedicate to Aphrodite. I'm telling you. I'll tell you about the devotional acts in my other videos for each deity. But yeah, put lotion on, put perfume on. Sometimes I dedicate my showers, especially if I'm like feeling tired. Like, oh, I don't want to shower, but like I'll get in the shower and I dedicate to Aphrodite because, you know, I'm going on my way to get in the shower. Devotional acts are amazing. Do your devotional acts. Try to do a devotional act a day, like with casual stuff that you already do. Like taking your medicine, showering. Do it. Brushing your teeth. It can be anything, honestly. Do it. Some things I will tell to new Aphrodite worshippers. The main thing I will tell new Aphrodite worshippers is to not be intimidated by her. Like I said, there was months that I didn't talk to any of my deities and none of them killed me. So I came back and we were chill. Like, Aphrodite won't smite you because you didn't offer her $1,000 roses or something. She's very nice and understanding. She's the queen, for real. I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to include this video. And now for my dedication, Aphrodite. Thank you, my queen. Obviously, this video is about you. And I love you, Aphrodite. You're the best. Happy almost 3 years. That's going to Aphrodite specifically. If you're not Aphrodite, stop listening. No, I'm joking. And of course, the hymn will be for Aphrodite. We're going to do the Orphic hymn, number 55 for Aphrodite. Heavenly, smiling Aphrodite, praised in many hymns, sea-born, reverend goddess of generation, you like the night-long revel, you couple lovers at night, O scheming mother of necessity, everything comes from you. You have yoked all the world. You control all three realms. Oh my gosh. Everything comes from you. You have yoked all the world. You control all three realms. You give birth to all, to everything in heaven, to everything upon the fruitful earth, to everything in the depths of the sea, O venerable companion of Bacchus. You delight in festivities, O bride-like mother of the Erotes, O persuasion whose joy is in the bed of love, secreted giver of grace, visible and invisible, lovely trust daughter of a noble father, bridal feast companion of the gods, sceptered, she-wolf, beloved, man-loving, giver of birth and life. Your maddening love charms yoke mortals. They yoke the many races of beasts to unbridled passion. Come, O goddess born in Cyprus. You may be on Olympus, O queen, exulting in the beauty of your face. You may be in Syria, country of fine frankincense. You may be driving your golden chariot in the plain. You may lord it over Egypt's fertile riverbed. Come, whether you ride your swan-drawn chariot over the sea's billows, joining the creatures of the deep as they dance in circles, as light-footed as they frisk over the sandy beaches. Come, lady, even if you are in Cyprus that cherishes you, where fair maidens and chaste brides throughout the year sing of you. O blessed one, as they sing of the immortal, pure Adonis. Come, O beautiful, O comely goddess. I summon you with holy words. I summon you with a pious soul. Long live Aphrodite, queen of my heart. Thank you for watching, and remember that over time you will naturally grow closer with your deities, as long as you're making the effort. Aphrodite is awesome, the gods love you, and goodbye!